If AI is the future of art, why do all AI art projects fail? And while you watch me draw this, let's rip apart every AI art project out there and let's take away some really positive message for honest creators just like you that I think you need to hear. And now, let's bruise some AI egos. Alright, so let's start this one off with a bang, and based on the amount of feedback that I got from people that wanted to see this from my last video, here we go. Let's rip into AI video. First and foremost with this one, you might have heard about this world's first AI film that came out, and it's called Where the Robots Grow. And if you've not seen this big stinking trash bucket of a piece of crap, now might be your time that you want to go ahead and have a good laugh at it, because let's go check this one out here. Now, according to most articles like this one, it's going to say that this was mostly AI generated. Now, I've also heard conflicting reports that say that it's just been enhanced with AI, and even if this was just enhanced with special effects, we're going to talk later today about why that's not going well for the industry either. Now, the whole premise of this movie is apparently a giant ripoff between WALL-E and Borderlands, and we get this big stinking pile of crap. And this stars this little fella here, who apparently is like WALL-E, who went on a bender and just had a really, really rough life right there. And the entire cinematic sequence of this one is so bad. Now, just to point this out for you, I'm not really sure what I'm allowed to do on YouTube, and I don't want a copyright strike, so I'm going to show you some stills on this one. And then they produce some memorable characters like, what the crap is this thing? Like, this looks like it belongs in the Minecraft movie, making me some lava chicken, right? And no, I will not call you Pop, sir. What is wrong with this thing? Y'all, have you ever seen, I don't know, like Halo or Mass Effect? Like, we've seen better AI generated things than this redneck farmer AI character right there. This is why noobs think that they can just go ahead and create something that they think is really masterful, but like the setting on here and the overall environment design is so bland and basic. This looks like just the beginner art school portfolio film reel, which at least would have been respectable if it were showcases that, but it's not. The overall assessment on this one is that it's just terrible. But wait, the fun doesn't stop there, because did you know there's actually a fully AI generated movie, and it's this garbage pile. This one was apparently set to come out last year, and it's called Next Stop Paris, which is apparently some type of weird romance film that's wholly AI generated. And everything about this, from the script to the voices to the actual action that happens in this, is all AI generated. And wow, look at this beautiful still with this really plasticky looking woman, and oh, look at that. Nothing makes you want to just go ahead and cuddle up with Bae, like holding your six-figured hands together. So precious. And now here's my major point that I want to make that I think all of these beautifully illustrate, is that just because you have an idea doesn't make it a good idea. And now let's contrast this with one that actually worked out with a real innovative technology, which was when 3D first came onto the scene. You might have heard about the #1 3D movie that started it all for us, which is this little thing, I don't know, you might have heard of it, called Toy Story. You ever hear about this one? But y'all, just contrast this and check this out. This is how Toy Story started. This is the concept art of Woody. Look at how horrific that is. And here's my major point I want to make for honest creators like you that are artists, okay? You don't come to a great product through your mental efforts. You come to a great product through your work towards it. Your product does not get refined just because you think you have a good idea. You actually work towards it, and it becomes a great idea. And the #1 most tragic misunderstanding that all creators have is they think that they have a great idea. No, they don't. They have the beginning and the origin of one, but their resistance to working towards it is actually what is hurting them. Whereas for you as an artist, you have infinite capabilities to actually go ahead and produce things that people actually like and respect. And we'll talk about why that's such a big deal as we go through the rest of this video here. So if you're thinking that what you're doing or creating will never see the light of day or will never actually receive any attention, let me just tell you, this stuff is dead on arrival. So this is Next Stop Doom, not Next Stop Paris, and it won't be Next Stop Success either. All right, now for all my comic lovers and comic creators out here, this one goes out to you, because we really need to go ahead and launch into this one. And one of the, I think, most pinnacle moments in AI development was when this horrific gem came onto the scene, which is called Zarya of the Deep. Have you ever seen this, okay? Now, granted, this was done about 1.5 years ago, and if you think that AI advancements have somehow made this better, it hasn't, so let's check this one out. And when you take a look at the visuals on this thing, They're atrocious. This makes absolutely no sense. This literally looks worse than like a middle school art project where the teacher would assign you to go ahead and create your own comic. You know what I'm talking about? Like, just follow this on here. It doesn't make any sense. There's horribly inconsistent characters. There's absolutely no good action. There's no storytelling taking place. And this has not gotten better over the last 2 to 3 years, nor will it get any better over the next 2 to 3 years, regardless of what AI bros tell you. And now, curiously, what this did for the developer, though, was it landed them somehow some type of an AI job at Adobe, which was really strange. And if you could see how powerful and how effective that was, check out what happened to the stocks. Boom. That's what happened to them. And that's why AI isn't working for anybody and it isn't working for anything either. In fact, all AI does is not inspire people, it inspires mistrust in products, which is really funny to see. Now, if you're on that train that's like, oh, but look at all the advancements, and oh, look at this, it could go ahead and produce a comic book that's from Batman from the 1950s. Okay, who cares about that? Because no one's reading that, my friend. And then you can even see the newer stuff like this. If you're like, oh my God, but this new engine. Listen, there's two things that AI bros have to go ahead and operate on. And that is absolute delirium and hype. And the more that they are fed both of those things, the more that they produce trash like this. And so when you actually take a look at AI produced comics right here, you're gonna notice very specific things that are very good for actual creators like you, friend, which is first and foremost is that comics actually thrive off of distinct art styles. They thrive off of your originality. They thrive off of you actually doing something that's unique and interesting. Number two is that it actually thrives off of really good storytelling. And nobody likes this stuff. There's no human connection. And furthermore, again, there's no labor put towards it. So if you're afraid that like your comic or your manga or anything that you're producing on the similar note here is not going to be appreciated, let me just tell you this, people actually appreciate your stuff way more because it has something unique about it. And by surrendering any part of that process to AI, you actually surrender any level of respect and appreciation because AI users just can't seem to get that, can they, man? Now, how about we get a little scandalous right here? And let's talk about how well AI is done at imitating artists, right? Because you might have this major concern, or you're like, oh my God, I'm so afraid the AI is gonna go ahead and imitate me and steal my stuff and then go ahead and make me obsolete. Well, it won't, and here's some proof on why. First and foremost, let's take a look at how well that went for everybody else. Most eminently, we gotta go ahead and take a look at the work of Greg Rakowski, who is one of the most #1 flagship artists, along with Carl Ortiz and everybody that's suing the pants off of Midjourney, and I really hope that they win sometime soon because things are going quite well for them. And then when you take a look at his work versus this derivative slop right here, nobody is making the connection saying like, oh my God, wow, Greg, nobody needs him anymore. And then when you also take a look at how well that's gone for other people, like let's take a look at Sam Does Art. You might have heard about this scandal and this controversy about a year or two ago, where some nasty AI bros went ahead and threw all of his art into a generator and then created their own ethical model of it, which by the way, there aren't any ethical models, my friend. They're all using Lion, so therefore you're participating in thievery. It's just that plain and simple. And then that did not bode well for that user. And then we can more contemporaneously also take a look at the work of Kim Jong-gi, which when he died was memorialized by having AI try to replicate him, and it was terrible. And let's talk about that. Like, that's so dishonorable. That's so disrespectful to this man. And then we can also take a look at this nowadays. Akira Toriyama recently passed away, and then AI bros are also trying to imitate him as well. But my friend, here's the #1 thing that I want to let you know. And while AI bros will tell you that like, oh, you can't own an art style. Okay, that's right. But you know what we can own? We can own our work. We can own our labor. We can own our learning. You don't own anything except for a Midjourney subscription. And so 2 hot takes I want to give you right now on this stance. If you're afraid of AI replacing you or copying you, here we go. Most artists do not work continuously to go ahead and make themselves better year after year, month after month, artwork after artwork. They work to their monetization level. And my friend, if you're only working to the point at which case you can become monetized, then I'm afraid that you're already possibly phasing yourself out. So instead, always look for your growth potential. And if AI can copy you, guess what? That's your signal to go ahead and say, boom, I need to go ahead, I need to evolve. I need to go ahead and revolutionize what I'm doing so that I can get better, because that's always how I've thought about it. And that's how I think you can walk the path of the artist, my friend. The other thing, #2, I want to bring to your awareness is this. You're not there. Why are you worried about some AI bro copying you and your artwork, but you're not there? You're not some big name brand social media artist. So who cares? Go ahead and create. Go ahead and make the stuff that you want. Go ahead and produce the projects that you want to, because nobody is looking at you right now with your 317 followers and saying like, that person, I need to go ahead and replicate them. And they won't anyways, so why bother? Have fun, enjoy your artwork, and love everything you're doing, unlike AI bros, because nobody loves them. Now, you might have been a little bit freaked out most recently when you've heard about some AI art trends. Are you that person? Let's chill on that note and let's check this out. So most recently, you probably no doubt heard about the Studio Ghibli or Ghibli, however you want to say that one, right? And go ahead and produce some gems. Like this thing right here. Look at how dopey that thing looks. And this is all too common. From this though, the best part is that I think that this is really good news for artists. I'm gonna explain to you why. And so for a hot minute, this became a really big trend and everybody Ghiblifying everything. And then people also tried to offer commissions and things on this one, which was so stupid. But the thing that I really ponder on this one is like, who cares about that anyways? Because literally like a month later, nobody cares about this anymore. And then we can also go ahead and take a look at this popular trend too, where AI users would go ahead and create like their own little designer dolls and action figures and things like that, which in that case, artists actually went ahead and hacked that trend and did it themselves, which I thought was rather brilliantly executed. And then before that, there was another trend where people would Simsify themselves and put themselves into Simpson characters. And so my friend, here's two major things that I want to go ahead and convey to you as Onyx creators, which is first and foremost, is that all of these, they are short-lived, they're a short experience, they are made strictly not for appreciation, but for consumption purposes. And so the other thing, more importantly, is I want to let you know this, is that in all of these circumstances, nobody appreciates the user behind it. Nobody appreciates who actually generated this. All credit always goes not into the artist, the AI artists, which are no such thing, they're just image generation users and consumers. Instead, it always goes to the model and to the technology. And there are no popular AI users out there. Even with their supporter base, you might disagree with me on this one, but there's no such thing as an AI supporter. There's only two categories that AI users fit into: grifters and griftees. So when you take a look at a popular AI user, instead what you're just seeing is that the grifter is the AI user who's being idolized. And then the griftees are the people trying to latch on and figure out exactly how they did what they did, so then they can become that next version of this one. And it's really just that simple. There's no credit that goes to these people, and deservedly so, because even if they do get any attention, it's short-lived. And if you're intimidated by people, don't be, because I guarantee you in the next few years, they're gonna die off anyways, because they're not being honest with themselves. And as we go through the rest of these, if you're appreciating this, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe so that I can help you a longer artistic journey, to help you out, give you honest advice, and to even help jumpstart your art business too. I'm right here for you each and every week, just like this. And now let's go ahead and let's jump into this next heaping pile of dog poo. So now if you didn't know, AI's even tried to go ahead and insert itself into some anime that we like, and let's see how that's going. All right, so most famously, and I think that this entire bandwagon kind of started back when Netflix tried to push this gem called Dog and Boy. The company behind it actually only did it just with the backgrounds. And so even with that though, the big thing that I think all AI bros really went ahead and got overzealous about was the idea that somehow it can just replace all artists, which is funny to me because literally nobody cares about this anymore. And nowadays, now we have this first AI generated anime. Oh wow, isn't that fantastic? This is called the Twins Hina Hima. And by the way, if you've ever watched this thing, there's something unsettlingly creepy about this. So just taking a look at this one, I just want to call this one out and say for what it is. This is the most lame, boring, and basic concept that you could ever come up with. And when I look at this anime, there's nothing great about it. Everything is so bland, boring, and basic. I mean, it is like mediocre on a sunny day, and it's just uninspired on a rainy day. Even when you compare this to normal slice of life anime, it just is incomparable, and it always will be that way because, again, AI can't do anything legendary, nor can it do anything that's actually competitive. And now supporters of this will say something to the effect of like, well, it was done with a smaller crew and it was done to save money. But my friend, here's what I want to let you know for you right now who is either in this boat of you think that you need AI in order to do this, or if you think that somehow this is a good message for new potential creators. Number one is that is pure rhetoric of manipulation by all AI companies. They actually don't care about you. There is no AI tech out there for image generation nor video generation that was actually made to support honest everyday users like you might be if you're watching this right now. That is pure fallacy and pure delusion because it's way too extreme for you to actually think that. This is actually just made for businesses. It has nothing to do with individual users, everyday Joes like us. This is also not access. It does not grant higher access to you. All this does is go ahead and feed you a self-deluding prophecy that never comes true, my friend, where you think that your creation is actually going to come about through the use of AI. But realistically, none of that is happening and none of that will happen. And the most delusional aspect is that every single time AI gets any type of pushback, their number one response is like, oh, just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Okay. I've been waiting 2 to 3 years, same slop. I'm gonna wait another 2 to 3 years, still the same slop. Let's wait 5 to 10 years, it's still gonna be the same and the same limitations. And then artists still aren't gonna go anywhere. Unless you choose to, my friend, which in that case, you know, if you wanna walk the path of the creator, you've got some longevity in your game, don't you? Some more hilarious examples of this also include when AI was used as minor parts within special effects and even if it's been used in TV shows. So let's check this one out. And now this all started off with the Secret Invasion intro for Marvel. Have you seen this show? The show is actually, it's not too bad, but most notably, when you watch the beginning of it, you're gonna see disgusting stills like this. And look, even like non-artists were totally turned off by this one. There was such a nasty vitriolic reaction to this one, and universally, everybody hated this. And then most recently, if you didn't know this, Star Wars tried to showcase some AI special effects, and we got some gems like, what is this? And what's funny is that this has been a complete disaster. So basically what they tried to do is showcase how AI could go ahead and potentially be utilized in future Star Wars franchises, showing stills like this saying that, oh, AI could be helpful. But the universal reaction was that this was terrible. It's absolute trash. Like there's nothing Star Wars looking about all of these. That was the general reaction to it. And when you take a look at, you know, the Mantitia or the snail cock up over here, like there's nothing special about this one. And there's never going to be either. And what this should showcase is that the need for human input and human design is never going to go anywhere. Like compare this garbage to like a Feng Zhu design who actually did work on the Lucas Ranch. And then what this also kind of brings to my mind is that there's also these really popular YouTube content creators called Corridor Crew. You might have heard about them, you might have seen their reel where they utilize AI within some type of workflow. And now they got a lot of attention from that one, especially from the AI bro community, but unrightfully so, because one of the things that I think that reel actually did was it inflated their egos and it gave them false expectations for what AI could do within special effects. And so what you don't realize, just to the naive first-time viewer of that one, is that there's an insane amount of human input into that. There's like far more, like 99% of what made that look kind of cool to some people was actually the use of human efforts, and it had nothing to do with AI, and it had everything to do with an extremely professional crew of visual effects artists, not AI. AI didn't make it special. That crew did. And by the way, that doesn't also substitute it as a tool, because AI is not a tool for creators. It is a poor substitute to try to emulate creators. And again, looking back at the previous examples, all proponents of AI will say that it doesn't have to be great, it just has to be good, it has to be good enough. But as we're seeing from all these examples today, good enough just ain't good enough. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to just be good enough. I want to create something that people actually like. I want to create something that's unique and special to me. And AI users just can't seem to wrap their minds around that, can they? But you can, my friend. Now let's go ahead and let's jump into another really big space that AI is attempting to invade and it's been horribly unsuccessful at. And let's talk now about video games, because have you seen any video game companies try and push this one out, particularly on mobile platforms, and especially too in the indie market? We need to talk about that. So all indie creators, this one goes out to you to really perk up and pay attention to, because you need to. And so when I take a look at what AI has been able to actually do with the artwork that's in their games, it's quite curious and contradictory. So let's check this one out. Here's one that I went and I found on Steam, and there's so many examples on this one. just to go ahead and point it out, but I'm going to go ahead and make this a sacrificial lamb. And so with this one, it just carries all of those characteristics of AI, where you might look a little pretty at first, but then you realize it's got nonsensical elements, it has nonsensical lighting, it's got that real plasticky feel. Like, look at these characters, they're all so artificial feeling, aren't they? And then if you think to yourself, well, people will like the game, they won't care about the art. Well, check this one out here, because when we actually look at the user reviews on the Steam community, and this is not just on Steam, it's on all platforms, people unanimously, they might like the game, but they stop playing it and they stop getting interested in it because of the fact that everything on it is AI generated. And now if you're an indie developer that's also on this bandwagon of like, well, I can't afford an artist and I just want to go ahead and create my stuff. Well, I think that that's a little curious, and let's kind of go ahead and expound on why. Because when you take a look at what people are actually doing in the indie game spaces, I think that you serve a really important purpose, which is to go ahead and give something as a unique experience to people who are sick of AAA games that are not delivering to them satisfying experiences. But as we can go ahead and we can take a look at these examples of what's actually happening, you'll actually find that a lot of users are actually getting their entire product that they've worked for years on completely destroyed because they've used AI. And then another concern that I see brought up a lot too, as I go ahead and I look on all online spaces about this, like I'm going to show you some of these, is that you have the potential to go ahead and get review bombed on here, which is when users will go ahead, see that you're using AI, and then just go ahead and downrate you all the way. And so all of that hard work and effort, it's not respected and it's not appreciative. Because even though, yes, you hope that people will just go ahead and latch onto the game and not the art, but you need to see this. The art is an integral component of the game. But the curious part about this, and the thing that I really want to push on to you, is this consideration for you. How are people supposed to respect your hard work and efforts when you don't respect your fellow creators' hard work and efforts? Why is it okay for you to selectively say, well, they don't matter and I can go ahead, I can overlook them, but you want people to go ahead and shower you with appreciation? Do you not see the hypocrisy there? Because I can't overlook it, and I don't think anybody else should either. And you expect people to respect your vision, but if you don't respect other people's creative visions, how are you supposed to get that in return? Think about it. Because AI in games is absolutely worthless. Now, let's also talk about how AI has been doing in publications. And most famously, of course, you might have noticed that the book market has kind of gone ahead and been stolen a little bit from this. And let's just see what's happening with that one too. And so most notably, you might notice that there's a lot of authors out here that are trying to shovel some AI slop like this right up on here. And it's so obvious. And I see this stuff all the time on Facebook, on ads, on Instagram ads too. And what always seems to happen is that they become the target of everybody who has some sense about themselves and actually respect for artistic craft and is going to go ahead and just demolish them online. And then they get pissed when people actually point it out and say, that's not art, that's actually just AI. And then this has gotten so out of hand with so many people trying to use AI and so many people trying to push book covers and book designs that even authors are starting to push back, which I'm so pleased to finally see. Because for such a long period of time, authors were going ahead and embracing this one, which we're going to go ahead and cycle back to in a second to learn why that was actually a terrible idea for them. But you're going to see authors just like this one pleading for an actual artist to come around and help them out, because AI users, you just can't produce specifics. I'm going to go ahead and rip that one to shreds in my next segment. And the thing that I want to go ahead and also kind of go ahead and parallel this with is when musicians also go ahead and they use AI for their album covers. And now this might be a new artist, this might be an existing artist, but nevertheless, it always comes down to the same exact reaction. And people stop buying it, they stop being interested in it, and it overall produces a lot of revolt against them. And now the thing that I find really curious, and I think that more people need to go ahead and discuss this and consider it, is that as a fellow creator, and I do consider you a fellow creator, if you're a musician, if you're a writer, if you're a visual artist, anything that's in between there, if you're a dancer, you're a drama, whatever, you're my fellow artist, you are my kin, okay? And so why do you selectively say to yourself and hypocritically go ahead and expect people to appreciate your craft, and you disrespect other people's creative craft? Like, just as an example, if I'm making a show using my own artwork and my own animations, I'm not gonna go ahead and AI generate music, because that would be disrespectful to the craft of my fellow artist. So why then is it okay to hypocritically support art but hyper-selectively? It just doesn't make sense. And then when you get that type of a reaction, just realize you brought that on yourself. because you disrespected your fellow creator instead of embracing them, and we should all stand in unity against this. Don't you think? Now, I'd be remiss if I went through this video and didn't talk about how the freelance market has not been impacted by AI, and it's actually a good thing that this happened. Here's why. Because when you take a look at the freelance platforms, and I have been preaching against this for years now, okay? I'm talking about Fiverr, I'm talking about Upwork, I'm talking about all of these lousy art commission websites that just don't work for anybody, and they never did in the first place. And AI users, you came in here, you came onto DeviantArt, you came onto Artistry, and you just destroyed Fiverr. So when you take a look at these platforms, like let's take a look at Fiverr right here, okay? You will find no shortage of AI users trying to bust into this. And I also see this all the time on DeviantArt too, which, by the way, no one's buying anything on your friggin' commission store on DeviantArt, all right? Nobody buys off of that, okay? It's a terrible system. I absolutely don't recommend it for artists nor AI users. What are you gonna see? You're gonna see people that are trying to shuffle their slop for $20, $10, $5, and it's across everything. And what's really funny to me is that people think that there's like a huge demand, a huge market for this, but there's absolutely not. And so what's funny too to me is that you ever notice how AI users can't come to a consensus on, does this take no time? Does it take a lot of time? Because there are so many AI users that are like, oh, you don't understand AI. You don't get how this stuff works. It takes a long time to do this. But hold on, I thought the whole premise of this was that it doesn't take that much time. So pick one side of the fence to stay on, because you can't straddle both, my friend. And so you will also find no shortage, just like this, of AI users crying, oh, nobody wants to buy my stuff. Nobody's buying my Etsy store. Nobody wants to buy my this and that. I can't make enough money off commissions. Oh, poo-poo, woo-woo. So guess what, AI users? I guess that you didn't really flood the market. All you did was make all the good clients rise to the top. Because nowadays, here's actually what's happening, my friend, is that those users are actually returning back to us. All you did was you smoked out all the rotten, awful clients that artists shouldn't work with and don't want to work with and wouldn't provide a future for them. All of the respectable art buyers, which, by the way, there are still tons of them throughout the world, they are still coming to us, okay? I can tell you myself, as somebody who runs an art business, that my business has never taken a hit and has only gone up since AI's introduction into it, okay? Because what that's actually done is, in fact, it's pushed people towards artists, not away from it, especially as AI becomes less and less of a novelty and it becomes more and more mediocrity. And regardless of what anybody is telling you right now, regardless of what you've heard, you might have been shoved this nonsense that like AI is taking over and it's doing so well, but in actuality, it's not, my friend. And I actually predicted AI art's downfall 2 years ago. All my predictions came true for it. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and check out this video right here where I can prove it to you. And if this video helped you, please share it with somebody that you know. Thanks so much and see you next time.